Washington at New York. So I'm going to tell you right now, when we were doing our game picks, I was like, the Giants are going to win this game, but I can't pick them because I know that it's either going to be a game where the Giants win or it's going to be a game where the Washington Commanders just absolutely shit all over them, and then I'm going to look really, really stupid. And I felt the safer choice was to go with Washington. But
I think I did the same thing.
It's a game where it's like the Giants, they have to win this game. So my question to you is there any chance that the Giants bounce back and get anywhere close to 500 by the end of the year? One or two games within 500.
You know what? Again, you know me. I always got to pull up the schedule when I'm going to answer a question like this. I have to get exact frame of reference on what I have coming up, right?
And just to kind of talk about it, even like in the beginning of the year, when we did our record predictions, we were both fairly low on the Giants, and a lot of people did not like that.
Yeah, I feel like again it was like that with the Raiders and the Giants, but here we are. And I'll say right now, bro, looking at the schedule, honestly, no, I don't think near 500. I think we can get 3-4 away at most.
Okay.
That's at most.
Okay.
But I do not believe. And again, if you're a Giants fan, no matter how you're going to slice this, it was a humongously disappointing season because they really were super faithful in a lot of things about this year. But again, the writing was on the wall in terms of a lot of things about the team are just not all ready to compete. And the Daniel Jones contract, again, the way QBs are being paid right now, it's not even Daniel Jones' fault.
Yeah.
But it's going to reconfirm. It's just the way QBs are being paid right now, it's not going to keep working like this.
This game felt like how the Giants went about their offseason, this game felt like how it was supposed to work. Like Saquon was decent on the ground. He had a decent amount he had over 100 scrimmage yards. Tyrod Taylor played okay. Obviously, you want Daniel Jones in there.
I would say Tyrod.
He played pretty well.
Like and it's the thing is where you're paying Daniel, and you look at this, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah,
it's a disgrace.
But obviously, trading that 3rd round pick for Darren Waller, drafting Jalen Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt had 2 catches for 75 yards, and his long was 42. So they were both long catches, and it's like, bro, they need to get Jalen Hyatt way more involved. This team is barren of talent in the wide receiver position. Give this guy that you drafted more and more opportunities. He made a big catch last week.
And we were talking about it. And again, I get it from the coach's perspective, right? It's like they don't want to bring him in too early because they don't know a lot of things about, certain things about blocking within the offense,
right?
And certain responsibilities of option routes and things like that, right? And that's the thing. So I get it. They don't want to put the QB in a position where he's going to make a throw that's completely liability for everybody.
Right.
Don't want to put them in a liability position to QB anybody. I get it. But then on the other hand, like we say too, if you don't let them get in there and get confidence and make the mistakes and then learn from it, when is it going to happen?
Right.
And I think it's you'd rather get them in there and have it when they're young, get over it early, versus having them go in year 2 or 3 making those young mistakes that are going to happen regardless, pretty much. And then the confidence is so diminished because they're already thinking to themselves, wow, I'm already not playing with my value. They're looking at dudes that we're taking them. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do either, but you know my point. You look at dudes taking above them, already out producing them. I think dudes get in their own head.
Yeah.
That's my point is you want to put a dude in a position where it's like, look, man, I trust you. You know what? You're going to make mistakes, but I'm going to let you make mistakes and you're going to learn from them. And I trust that you're going to learn from them. And if you're a team like the Giants that are not a good team, what better situation to be doing it in?
Right.
That's how I look at it.
I agree. And also going over to the Commanders side, I honestly think this game probably solidified the firing of Ron Rivera. To come in and lose to a team that's been kind of laughed at all year, especially when you're on the paper, the much better squad, losing to a backup quarterback.
Oh, it's an excuse. I have words for this one.
7 points against this team is ridiculous, especially when your defense held them to 14.
Yeah, so let's start with this, right? Let's start with the fact that for the last 3-4 years, the Commanders, along with the Raiders, have been our 2 identityless teams. They have no identity. They have basically no direction. They have competitive pieces, but not enough of them, right? They're like carbon copies of each other in 2 different conferences. The issue is, right, you brought in Bieniemy. He's the OC now. So it's was that just the plot to, are they going to promote him? Is that your new head coach? I guess you have to ask yourself, right. That's what I think you feel like that. It's that probably is the direction they're going to go. Let's say that they don't though. Is Bieniemy saying, is Bieniemy I'm out the door? These are all hard things in the future. But I'm just saying, if you're a Commanders fan at this point, it's a tough, again, it's just tough because, and again, with the window of opportunity to win things, we see how Jonathan Allen was this week. You see how your stars feel. It's like, are you gonna
he
be
let
able
him
to?
know.
Oh, are you gonna be able to have these guys on the roster, bro? That's what I'm saying. By the time it's time to compete,
He said,
like,
I've been here for 7 years. It's the same shit.
are they gonna be able to keep these guys around? Are they still, and even if they do, are these guys gonna be competing at this prime level? I think
Right.
just like we're saying, much like the Raiders carbon copies, they're probably gonna have to shell off a lot of talented guys this year. And because they didn't do this earlier, you're really biting the bullet now with nothing left,
Yep.
as opposed to if you just shipped out a couple good guys, you're willing to tell Ron to fuck off. And that's the thing. Ron has been a great coach throughout history. I don't know to be disrespectful to Ron, but recently,
It's been garbage, yeah.
Ron has not been a good coach. And I would say that. He just hasn't been a productive coach, right? I can't say good. Not productive. He's not producing wins. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. He's not producing wins. So the bottom line is he's got to go. But that's the problem. You waited too long to do all this stuff. You're going to be in a really, really bleak position where you got to shell out a lot of good guys that might have been able to stick with you long term if you did this earlier. But now they're going to be wanting to be paid and they're going to be getting older. The window is closing with this squad. You got to shell it out. And it's complete. It's just a really tough situation.
Okay, so to end the conversation on this game, who's more likely to get dealt, or who do you see getting dealt? Sweat or Young? Who's more likely?
I think Chase Young's definitely more likely.
Okay.
Because I think every Commanders fan would agree at this point if you had to pick one of them, right? I mean,
Chase has played better this year.
That's the thing. He has. But I think with my thing with Chase is that I'm always, with guys that have been injured a lot,
Yeah.
it's always like, you're kind of like, I don't want to say waiting on, but you're always very like, oh man, I can't think of the word. You're worrying the whole time you're watching. You're worrying. Versus a guy like Montez, it's kind of like you can just watch, lean back. You're like, I'm not worried. You know, like I think this is what it's going to happen every week. Like I can't expect him to be out here. So I'd say I'd probably lean towards Chase, but you never know. They could surprise us for sure.
Best ability is availability.